Have you ever wondered what it's like for the tabloids to tell lies about you and you're not even famous? This girl does. Grab some popcorn and I'll tell you about it.
Welcome to Sketch My Story. I'm Mary, and today's guest is the talented Casey Dressler, and this is her story.
Several years ago in Miami Beach, I booked my first ever lead role in a SAG commercial. I didn't even have to audition. They just booked me off of my comedy background and my headshots. I show up to set not knowing anything about it other than it was an Italian film company shooting a commercial on Miami Beach. Feeling super nervous and ill-prepared, sweat pits are forming very nicely as I check into what looks like a billion-dollar production on Miami Beach. I am then escorted to my own trailer by a guy with a walkie-talkie. It was very official. I sit down and a team of makeup artists and hairstylists begin to work on me. I'm really freaking out at this point. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? Where am I? Imposter syndrome is really taking its toll on me, and I decide to make the woman who is working on my face my new therapist. For the sake of the story, let's just call her Dr. Blush. And I'm like, hey, Dr. Blush, love what you're doing with the face. Hey, sister, possibly do you have any idea what I might be doing? Because this looks big. And Dr. Blush is like, you don't know? And I'm like, no, Dr. Blush can't say I do. And Dr. Blush takes the makeup applicator and she sets it down very gently like it's a bomb that's about to go off. And she looks at me very seriously and she says, you are going to film a commercial today with Bruce Willis. And I'm like, Dr. Blush, don't play with me. You mean Bruce Willis as in was married to Demi Moore, Pulp Fiction, Die Hard Bruce Willis? And Dr. Blush confirms my rant, and before I have any time to process any of this, I am now down on the beach with the director who brings Bruce and I together, explains to me in a very thick Italian accent very quickly that my job is to run from a group of dancing extras on the beach, scream Bruce's name in an Italian accent, run up to him, grab him and hug him, and then start dancing with him. End of scene. And I'm trying to understand all of this. And I'm like, okay, yes, that sounds very good. Mr. Italian director, man that speaks very quickly, let's go. And the cameras roll, and I scream in an Italian accent that I've just pulled out of my ass, Bruce! Oh, it was so bad. And then I run up to Bruce, and I give him this weird half hug thing because I'm nervous about touching him, and the director calls cut. He gives me some more direction, and we go again. And then I do the weird half hug thing again, and cut gets called again. But this time, it's Bruce Willis who has called cut. And Bruce Willis puts his arm around me and he takes me on a short walk away from the set, and he turns to me, puts both of his hands on my shoulders like a football coach, and he says, don't worry about me. Don't worry about touching me. Just go for it. This is your moment to really be funny and shine. Just go for it. And I am so inspired by this Bruce Willis war rally. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to do it for you, Bruce Willis. And we go back to set and the cameras roll and I really go for it. And Bruce! I run and charge Bruce so hard I actually knock him down into the sand. And everybody's laughing and I'm feeling really good, and we do another take and then we're done. We're done for the day. And I go home elated. I'm feeling so good. This was such a career high. I am the king of the world. I'm feeling good. But then the universe is like, oh, sweetie, you feel good about yourself after your little Bruce Willis commercial? That's cute. Here, take this pie to the face. Cut to the next morning, I receive a text message from Dr. Blush containing a link to an article published by the Daily Mail. Apparently, paparazzi had been on the set and filmed our scene, and the article itself was titled something like Bruce's Day on Miami Beach with Bikini Models. But then the video of me and pictures had captions like, crazed fan breaks through set and bum rushes Bruce on Miami Beach. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. Sometimes the comedy just writes itself. I was so embarrassed. I was so humiliated. I wanted to unzip my skin suit, crawl outside of it, hop a plane to Alaska, build an igloo, and then live inside of it for ever. I never received a copy of the commercial, so I don't know if the footage was ever even used. So in a way, I'm grateful for the paparazzi video, otherwise I'd have no other proof. But either way, I'll never forget my day with Bruce Willis and his epic pep talk. I often think about his words, and they're a good reminder to let myself just shine and go for it. Thanks, Bruce Willis.
What an amazing show of kindness and empathy from Bruce. But the kindness in this hitchhiking story turned out to be a little different. Join me now to see how that turned out by tapping here. You can find more funny skits and stories from Casey too, the links below. Thanks so much for your story, Casey.